watch Citi TV for a year. Now this is your TV. You don't go bad for my room. You man. Hello there and welcome to the Business Weekly Show here on Citi TV. My name is Michael Ogbodu. In the next 1 hour, I'll be bringing you a wrap of all the major business news stories. So if you're ready, let's go. Increase in transport fares has almost become cliche these days, but this recent one is quite a shocker. Prices shot up from 8 cedis 45 pesos to almost 10 cedis at some pumps. For others, a few pesos from 12 Ghana cedis. How at all did we get here? Looking at the rate of increase lately, you can't help but wonder how transport operators are coping with the pressure. For those who own private vehicles, at worst, you may figure out an alternative. But for those whose livelihoods depend directly on the cost of fuel, how are they being impacted by these rampant hikes?
The latest hike in fuel prices has gotten transport operators worried over its impact on their business. The price of fuel at the beginning of the year was about 6 Ghana cedis 45 pesos per litre, but now stands at almost 10 Ghana cedis at some fuel pumps like Total. Stakeholders in the industry have attributed the depreciation of the Ghana cedi against the dollar and sharp increases in oil prices on the global market as reasons for the spike in the price of fuel at the pumps. Charles is a commercial transport operator who has been in the business for the past 30 years. He tells me the hike in fuel price is not only affecting his business but also impacting on the well-being of his family.
I travel 31 years in still I'm home oh driving said I buy 31 years for driving. I should still I'm home transport fare no say a kobe nanim kakra o man wan city to so and ka beboy say do tom na nye. Like
Charles, other transport operators are also experiencing hardship.
I buy to fuel mu kodru 35%. Oh no, a transport union no me say o my 30%. Fair no. You can't one year no my 15%. 15% in each no. Udi my any nine by 1 week later no to fuel. See 3 weeks in what's not to fuel. It's too much. Am I?
Martha is a wife of a transport operator and she validates concerns expressed by the drivers.
This is a boy the woman to I want to listen this one. Free Baba Ghana.
Reacting to the latest hikes, they called on the government and the Ghana Private Road Transport Union (GPRTU) to address the issue.
Obeto for 150, 120. Open what it here, oh nyahe. Now coffee. Enti abana de ya kan onti. Abana de why na dwen say on sesa. Nya de nso obesesa. Sanko samaya. Anka beboa ye nyina.
Friend de minyaya. Eya denta no minyaya. Anka yenji 7 cedis. Yes. 7 cedis na beboa ye. Uload no kokoro ba wonye bimba. So from here to Adenta you use 2 gallons in the head and ekoba. Obeto diesel 2 gallons. Akwa aba no. And full load no so load kwa 100 Ghana. Uba no wanye bia ma waboka.
On a rather interesting note, some drivers are not perturbed about the continuous hike in fuel price.
Fuel no se ko 200 Ghana kura e beto e Ghana for ya mamuni ate yentim ko Nigeria e Ghana ne ate se se ade abeko bia mintim ka se mi jado ame no ade o masua no sa na de na ate mintim ka se mi jado ame no mi jado ame.
Some passengers who spoke to Citi News called on government to intervene to stop the likely increase in transport fares.
This morning when I was coming from Hacho, like all the filling stations, they set the time to 0. It is just too much. I think something needs to be done about it as soon as possible. Yeah.
What I think is over for us, for transport, money for transport is over. From here to Medina, see I go at Delta, I go pay 5.5. Yeah, price over.
We wake up, there will be an exchange of transportation. The fares be going up and up. That's the problem we'll be facing. And it's affecting us a lot. Sometimes we don't know how much they are going to charge for the next day. You'll be sitting in the car, they'll tell you transportation has been increased.
A number of institutions had projected the recent and very unusual increment. One of them is the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, COPEC. However, beyond the prediction, they have been explaining what accounted for the increase and what could be done by the government to manage the situation. If the projection by the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, COPEC, is anything to go by, then it would mean that prices at the pumps would shoot up by more than 1 Ghana cedi 50 pesos per litre, as the current price on the market is about 8 Ghana cedis 40 pesos. This comes on the back of the recent development where fuel prices hit the 8 Ghana cedi mark. Transport fares were subsequently increased by 15%, but many transport operators opposed the amount, indicating that it was not sufficient to make up for their losses due to the spike at the pumps. Duncan Amwa is the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, COPEC, and he explains what accounts for the latest development.
The numbers prevailing currently within the market are scary. The cedi has depreciated close to 10% within the past 2 weeks. You also have world market prices having shot up significantly. For diesel, you are looking at a difference of almost $316 per metric ton, when the usual averages have been 30, 40, sometimes 20. You are doing $316 per metric variance, whilst petrol has done between $180 and $190 difference since the past 2 weeks. What this would mean in nominal terms is that your fuel prices effective Wednesday, the 16th of March, could see a minimum of 2 cedis increment. And so where most pumps are today dispensing at 8 cedi 49, you probably could be doing about 10 cedi 49. Diesel is expected to probably hit almost 11 Ghana cedis, depending on which OMC and how they arrive at their pricing.
He further called on the government to urgently address the matter.
We would want to give authorities an ultimatum. We are putting our house together. If by close of this week we do not hear anything concrete towards reducing fuel prices for Ghanaians like the French Republic, France has done, giving subsidies to their people, we are thinking that by Friday, 18th of March, we'll hit the streets.
Commuters and transport operators are usually affected by these frequent fuel price increases for obvious reasons. But it appears they aren't the only ones. The oil marketing companies have also had their fair share of the many challenges associated with this development. The Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, COPEC, had on Monday projected prices to hit 10 Ghana cedi per litre. Similarly, the Institute for Energy Security, IES, also hinted that prices could go above the 9 Ghana cedi mark from its current price of about 8 Ghana cedis 40 pesos. But these estimations are quite below figures from the Association of Oil Marketing Companies.
What it means that if OMCs are making 100%, they are putting 100% margin and 100% dealers margin. The fuel petrol should be 11.79, and export price for diesel will 12.77, and that of LPG will be 11.44. And we assume we are getting 100% of our margin in.
Consumers have had to bear the brunt of the ever-increasing prices of fuel, which commenced the year at about 6 Ghana cedis 40 pesos per litre. These increments have already resulted in a 15% increase in transport fares. The Association of Oil Marketing Companies says it also hasn't been left out in the impact of this development.
It's affected us pretty well because we have to go to the agony of trying to price properly so that you don't lose out. Because if you've got a product, you need to be able to sell it and be able to have enough money to go for more. By the time you turn around the corner, it's very expensive. It makes it very difficult. The uncertainty, business, there are many uncertainties in the business. But if you are added on some uncertainties which are unforeseen, it becomes pretty difficult.
On a rather interesting note, Things appear to be settling on the international front because prices are beginning to drop by very significant margins. After hitting almost $130 a barrel at some point this month, the price hasn't crossed the 110 mark this week. What could be accounting for this? Energy consultant Dr. Yusuf Sulemana has been sharing his thoughts on this. After increasing by about $33 to hit almost $128 between January 11 and March 8 this year, stakeholders in the oil and gas space were concerned and feared the worst. This is understandable for a product that started the year off at around $76 a barrel. Undoubtedly, the Ukraine-Russia war is to blame for the deteriorating situation. Whatever the case may be, for consumers, all they want is available and affordable fuel. Already, the local market in Ghana is under pressure as fuel prices are currently almost 8 cedis 50 pesos from about 6 cedis 50 pesos in January this year, causing transport fares to go up by about 15%. Yet, the question of the recent dip on the global front still lingers after dipping by about $18 in just 2 days. What could have accounted for this? Energy consultant Dr. Yusuf Sulemana explains.
I think the market got some certainty and some clarity that US is going to ban Russia, and then, but on the same vein, European Union clearly stated their position that Russia is key to their energy security. In fact, Russia is key to global energy security, and so they might not be able to ban them. Germany, for instance, they made it very clear. The president made it very clear that they cannot follow suit with this kind of energy ban. So I think that clarity of thought in this among these European members that they cannot follow US to sanction Russia because Russia is key to their energy security, though they respect US decision, that has brought clarity to the market, and that I think had fed into the stability that we have in the market as we speak now.
Despite the drop, we probably are still not out of the woods yet. At least, that's what Dr. Sulemana believes. In his opinion, anything above the $100 region is a concern for consumers.
There will be some impact, but immediate impact, I don't think we may have that immediate impact. I believe what will impact the pump will be when we have oil prices dropping below this 3-digit figure, below 100. If you have the oil prices dropping below 100, then we could significantly, we could see some effort at the downstream to get the pump down. But at this moment, the only positive thing is that we are sure that we've almost seen the market assuming some stability. Because after the announcement, we hadn't seen those kind of fluctuations that we used to see. So yes, stability is good for market, but high price is still not good for the downstream side. And so we will call on government to say reactivate the strategies that we talked about, trying to see whatever benefit that we get from the upstream, how they can cascade it to the downstream, trying to see how we can revamp and rebuild our local refinery. But those strategies are still on table. Taxes, government can still consider that. Those strategies are still on table. The government can look at.
Well, it looks like for those of us in Accra, it isn't just fuel we have to start adjusting our budget upwards for, but foodstuffs too. Traders in Accra say they have been compelled to increase prices due to the constant hike in fuel prices. But well, this was expected.
This is the strategy deployed here at the Adabraka market. The prices of foodstuffs as compared to that of last year have increased. For common food items like salted tilapia, also known as kobe, has seen a serious change in its price.
Kobe ne deɛ na wotɔn sizes ne yɛ
we yɛ kɛseɛ na we so yɛ kituwa.
Okay, first se metɔ kɛseɛ we a metɔn the same.
First no better we be 5 cedi. And now we 2 cedi. Na so say uma to be biemu. And na petrol so uma to munti say so better we obenya no 15 cedis.
Na ne boy den sa.
Say so uma to be biemu. Petrol na mo de consume no so no. Uma to first na ton 1 million say 2 million.
And what on the box?
This means that an additional payment of 10 cedis will have to be made to get one salted tilapia. The situation is not different at the Agbebulushi market, as fufu lovers will have to pay more to purchase cassava for their delicacy.
So you sell cassava here. How many years have you been selling cassava? About 10 years ago. So when you look at last year, for example, 2021, how were you selling your cassava tubes? So if maybe I'm buying 5 cedis, last year, how many were you giving out?
If you want to buy 5 cedis last year, I'll give you 10.
10. But this year you are giving 5. Why have you decreased it so much by just 5?
I am not the one who increased it. It's what I bought. It's what I'm selling. Because the thing they say they have increased. When they are coming, the fare up.
A gallon of palm oil has also shot up as one will be forced to pay an extra 20 cedis to purchase one at 60 Ghana cedis. Consumers like Peter are disappointed at the development.
Cashew market apa de bia me baha ebeto eduane ho niam bibi ti say anwa mako enam ene niam eye too much. The last Saturday me buy me beto enam £1. Me beto £1 15 cedis. The following Monday me buy a toma me 17 cedis per pound. Goat meat 20 cedis. Aden. Sisi aye kwani sen. Paper sheet keke. Ye ton 80 pesos. Ya ye ton ade buy and sell. Sisi on person ye den. Oil me beton 10 cedis. Sisi abisano or 12 cedis. Too much.
The Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana and other players within the agricultural sector have warned the country may experience food shortage in the coming months.
When we say shortage, what we mean is that there'll be food, but the availability, the quantity will affect how much you pay. So, yes, of course, shortage could mean that, yes, we used to have a lot of rice in the system, but now prices have gone up. Prices will go up because the quantity in the system is low. Now, prices are also going up because of the fuel prices. The cost of the transportation by the middleman, the aggregator and the transporter, in most cases, 30 cedis, 20 cedis per unit cost is also high.
The content manager of data and commodity at Isoko Ghana, Francis Danso Ajay, tells Citi News there should be an interim strategy to contain the situation to avert any disarray.
Have occasional shocks within the year, but to say an outright shortage where people cannot even have access when they have money, probably apart from the 80s, the early 80s that we had such an occurrence, probably this will be the second time in recent years.
From foodstuffs, let's talk about poultry, because the Poultry Farmers Association of Ghana says it is unhappy. This is because of a directive from the Agriculture Ministry to destroy farms which will be affected by future viral attacks, and they will not be compensated if they fail to obtain certificates. The poultry farmers say the move will negatively affect members because they are still dealing with the increase in the price of poultry feed from last year under the adverse effect of the coronavirus.
Poultry farmers, for most part of last year, suffered many setbacks and were on the verge of collapse due to difficulty in accessing feed due to a shortage of maize and the outbreak of bird flu. The flu caused the destruction of over 10,000 birds. For the Greater Accra Poultry Farmers Association, the directive by the Ministry of Agriculture may only worsen their plight. They contend that the Veterinary Services Directorate representatives dotted across the various borders should be well equipped to avoid the influx of infected birds from entering the country. Board member of the Greater Accra Poultry Farmers Association, Kwame Tim Dodu, spoke to Citi Business News.
I wouldn't agree with the government that much because the Ministry of Agri also has this responsibility. It is the Veterinary Services Department that issues the certificate before anybody can bring in live birds. And that is the requirement. And all these birds come through the borders, either the airport or the border, the landed borders. So if they come through these borders, and they are required to have certification, authorization to bring them. And so they are able to, penetrate these restrictions and come into the country. Then the ministry must first check with their veterinary services department why they are doing that. Even when we go to the airport to to pick our DOs from the importers, there's always a veterinary services official who checks issue certificates before you transport them to your farm. Even when it is 12 a.m., 1 a.m. Yes, we have them. So if birds still come from affected countries like Cote d'Ivoire, then the vet services unit there they are not doing what they are supposed to do to control this spread.
Ms. Nteam further added that majority of its members have already registered for their licenses, while the remaining 20% are being sensitized for a smooth process.
As of now, we are about 2,000 farmers. About 80% of us are registered.
80% are registered. So the rest of the 20% what are you doing to make sure that they don't fall victim to this in case such a thing happens?
There's going to be a general meeting on the 26th of this month, and we have put the information out there. We are talking to those people to come and register with us, and we believe that they will all register because there are advantages to registering with us as a member. Even the feed that we sell, we have different two prices for members registered and those unregistered. The registered members have a lower price fee than the unregistered members. So if you just a matter of registering to become a member, it should be easy for you to enjoy the discount on the feed prices all the time.
We focus now on the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Owusu Efiri-Akoto. He says the lack of investment in the sector by commercial banks in the country is partly to blame for the country's insufficient rice milling capacity. According to the minister, Ghana currently has a major deficit in its rice milling capacity, a situation he hopes to improve by courting investors in the sector. Over the years, the Rice Millers Association of Ghana has blamed inadequate financing for their inability to purchase the huge volumes of rice produced by farmers across the country. The millers allege that most financial institutions expressed interest in funding importers rather than local producers. In 2019, rice farmers in the Fumbisi and Bedemblisi valleys bemoaned the glut as a result of a lack of a ready market for their produce and the lack of resources to mill their grains. Speaking on the City Breakfast Show, Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Owusu Efiri-Akoto, corroborated the concerns of the rice millers, adding that the posturing of the banks was staggering the growth of the sector.
I am trying to get investors to come and invest in the milling capacity. Even the current milling capacity, only about 70% of the or less is being used because the banks are refusing to give working capital to the millers. The banks have not helped us. And I keep saying that the commercial banks in this country have vacated agriculture. And in spite of all the life that we put into the sector, it's just sat on the sidelines watching us. And in fact, we've arranged a meeting with all the commercial banks and the governor and the president himself present for me to make the case to them that it's about time they came in because government has done enough with the taxpayers' money and they have to come in with agricultural credit.
Another concern raised by the Rice Millers Association was that, given the current weather conditions, rice farmers are in dire need of silos. It further called on the government to step up its efforts in protecting the local rice industry. It appears the association might be getting their concerns addressed soon.
I told you we just taken over these warehouses, okay? And I can take you around the country to see for yourself exactly what I'm talking about. So very much we had in mind infrastructure as part of the management of the surpluses coming. We anticipated that. That's why we were able to build in 4 years 81,000 metric ton units. It's now the time to manage these warehouses. So we are now in the process of going to cabinet for the creation of the Grains Development Authority. So you need to have an institution to manage these things. You cannot just leave it to individuals. So the Grains Development Authority is now going to take over these warehouses to manage in terms of buying surpluses during the harvesting season, store them and release them to stakeholders in the dry season.
The African Continental Free Trade Area AfTA agreement presents a very big opportunity for local producers to export their products. But it's also important they make the effort to be competitive to maximize the opportunity. The Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority, Professor Alex Dodu, believes micro, small and medium-scale enterprises ought to prioritize their packaging to ensure they have an edge under the agreement. According to him, this will also facilitate the growth of their businesses.
A survey conducted by Confident, an international business advisory firm, in December 2020 revealed that only 26% of goods sold in some of the leading supermarkets in the country were made in Ghana. This comes after hundreds of local entrepreneurs have worked to improve their packaging, invested in producing high-quality products at an affordable price. Despite all these advancements, local brands still struggle to gain visibility. This has been a source of worry for many stakeholders in the country. As part of efforts to improve export competitiveness of local products, Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority, Professor Alex Dodu, is admonishing micro, small and medium-scale enterprises to prioritize their packaging to ensure their survival in the era of the African Continental Free Trade Area. According to him, this will also facilitate the growth of their businesses. Professor Alex Dodu was speaking at a 2-day workshop on flexible food packaging for MSMEs organized by the Food and Drugs Authority, FDA, in collaboration with the Ghana Standards Authority, EPAC Ghana and EcoBank Ghana Limited.
1, change the narrative. 2, improve the export competitiveness of our companies. Nobody should tell me that, we want to do it for, yes, it's for safety, for everything, but at the end of the day, it's about money. And if our businesses don't make money, they will lose interest. And please, making money legally and paying taxes is the way countries are built. Let's not feel shy. Our city falls and falls because we are not exporting. If we can export Kenke, can you imagine how much money you make? But there's one thing when we look at the export markets. It's a rules-based system under the World Trade Organization. Standards are standards everywhere. There are no cutting of corners. Our people, ears are hard. We want to cut corners. Please, we beg you. I spent a half day with the Ghana High Commission. All the rejects are due to the fact that people are cutting corners. And FDA has started progressive licensing. GSA, we say when your partner does something and you like, you copy. We're also doing graduated certification so that people will be brought onto the formal scheme. It helps the country and helps business.
Chief Executive Officer of the Food and Drugs Authority, Delise Darko, noted that the landscape for food packaging was transforming, especially with scientific advancements, thus the need for regulators and stakeholders to keep up with technological advancements to be ahead of time.
In executing our mandate to ensure public health and safety, we aim not just to safeguard health and the well-being of the people, but to foster economic development and to improve their livelihoods by promoting access to domestic, regional and international markets. Ensuring an acceptable level of quality and safety is necessary to achieve adequate protection for consumers and to facilitate trade. Everyone involved in the food chain, from the smallest farmer to the biggest industry, and we always say from farm to fork, we're here to ensure that food is safe, and we will always take the necessary precautions to ensure that all the hazards are removed while keeping food safe.
A Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, Nanama Dokua Isiamaje, says it's important that Ghanaian traders focus on domestic production of goods instead of relying heavily on imports. Traders have been lamenting over the depreciation of the cedi against the dollar, high rates charged at the ports, the increase in fuel prices, and how they negatively impact their businesses.
The traders were given the opportunity to voice out problems they encounter in plying their trade to the Deputy Minister. This followed a meeting between the Ministry of Trade and Industry and the women's wings of the various trading associations such as the Ghana Union of Traders Associations, Traders Advocacy Group Ghana, Cloth Sellers Association and many others on Tuesday.
Imagine you've taken the city to get the dollar and the rate is high, and when you come back, your products, you can't sell dollar. So definitely you're going to lose. And that also helped the dollar to rise because in Ghana, we don't sell in dollars. We sell in cedis. So if the government can reduce the rate on, what we call the depreciation of the dollar, then it will help us.
And China for pamoyang every year shops. More money me wa hand, money me buy a drink. And ye store na ye jeno. Wom re be so a fear ras in the baby fear brochre neighbor. Wo be hwe no na we two. Every shop a wutimo. When to one so a sika obebo no. Wonye sika ntua. Nti na wo say wo ye den pack your things and go back. And now say baby na obe nkwanchen baby a na e wo say wo kɔ na wo kɔ ye den. Wo kɔ tena ho ye adwuma. Sa de no ha. Yes, Ghanaians are very hospitable. Yes, but Sisiano, we are loving the outsiders more than our own selves. Agent for Wahabo. Omo a big problem, my. Sometimes we contain a bar. You bet you be at 40,000, 35,000. But at the end of it, no document never ba obeshemu no. Na duty na nkasa ebia 12,000, 10,000. Dia kani na obehu baby ni atro 10 cedis, 12 cedis. Ni atro bia 10 million old currency no. 1,000 cedis, sorry. And see a one big problem no. Yes, the officers are tagging container. And the officers saw beji 3,000, 2,000. When chia ye could be so whereby a smuggling beer anymore.
Nana Maduku Esiama AJ, in a response to these calls, opined that the solution to their problem is hinged on the direction of investments in their respective sectors. According to her, the situation will be addressed if investments are channeled into made-in-Ghana goods to reduce importation of subsidiary ones.
We all know that the more we import, it will definitely affect our dollar rate. And as they keep importing, it's definitely going to affect the dollar rate because they do not import with the Ghanaian cedi. They sell the Ghanaian cedi off to buy the dollar, and it keeps increasing the strength of the dollar. Now, when we are talking about the shipment, I'll still find a solution with it with the domestication bit, because if you are investing in a product that is already made here, you are not going to have problems with any shipping line, and the shipping lines determine their own freight.
At this point of the country's economy, raising revenue is key on the government's agenda. The Ghana Export-Import Bank has some suggestions that it believes can be helpful. The bank is urging the government to consider imposing export levies on some specific agricultural produce such as cashew in order to develop the sector. According to the bank, this move will serve as a source of revenue for the government while protecting domestic industries.
According to the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, the new portal, which is expected to commence operations from 1st April 2022, will help the authority collect about 1.7 billion Ghana cedis in revenue from online businesses like Netflix, Jumia, Alibaba, and Amazon, among others, in 2022. The launch of the revenue mobilization portal comes on the back of complaints from the Finance Minister, Kenu Fariata, that less than 10% of Ghana's 30.8 million population pay direct taxes, a situation he said was a poor reflection on the country when compared to other middle-income countries. In an interview with Citi Business News on the new portal of the GRA, technology consultant and digital lead of Pop-Out, Maximus Ametogo, noted that while the new portal is a step in the right direction, the laws of the country should be worked on to ensure more online activities are taxed.
Yeah, I think it's a step in the right direction, because a lot of e-commerce happens within the virtual space of Ghana, which goes untaxed. So I think it's a new area that they have to look out for, and of course they need to work on the laws of Ghana to even cover more areas of the virtual space in terms of taxation, and who can collect tax and who should be taxed. So I'm excited about that. So I'm sure the banking system have protocols in terms of how transaction is done, how many people from Ghana buy maybe products on Amazon, how the money is wired to Amazon, who tracks. So I'm sure they already have those arrangements already, and the numbers show the need to also, tax those businesses. So I don't think there will be a challenge or a problem.
Mr. Ametogo further added that prices of things bought via e-commerce platforms operating in Ghana are likely to rise marginally, but charged Ghanaians to support the GRA's efforts at raising more revenue by paying for the increases.
I'm sure as for that one, it's going to happen. Definitely, the consumers will pay a bit more in terms of the cost of the products that they buy online. That is definitely going to happen. And we should expect that. When we buy something on Amazon, on Facebook, on Google, there will be some tax that will be applied, and the cost of the product may go high. And we should pay it, because as citizens, we should also be able to pay our taxes. In Google, if I buy even game points on my phone when I'm playing games, and I buy either some tools or coins or gold coins, I pay taxes. How much of that comes to Ghana? Zero. So for me, I think if government of Ghana is also trying to say that, hey, our taxation jurisdiction is not just physical, but it's also virtual, that we should also look into that space. And in this digital age, people will be spending almost close to 1.6 billion in terms of on e-commerce in Ghana alone. I think government should also have its share of that cake.
Still on revenue mobilization, the Ghana Revenue Authority is preparing to introduce a non-resident e-commerce and digital service registration portal to help with the taxation of e-commerce platforms operating in Ghana. Even though this would help the government's income, stakeholders in the digital space believe consumers in Ghana are likely to pay a little bit more for products purchased on e-commerce platforms.
Ghana is among Africa's major producers of cashew nuts. The country currently produces around 85,000 metric tons of raw cashew nuts each year. This accounts for about 1% of the world's total production. Cashew production in Ghana dates back to the 1960s, with production for export markets expanding significantly in the last decade. Despite this, there are a number of challenges that hinder local processing of cashew nuts in the country. These include a lack of capital to maintain operations and the inability of local processors to access raw cashew nuts from farmers. Local processors also face intense competition from foreign processors and exporters. These conditions leave Ghana off the field, thereby missing out on the major opportunities for jobs and revenue generation. Recent studies show that governments in key cashew-producing countries across Africa are increasingly rolling out strategies to increase both the production and processing of raw cashew nuts. These include imposing export duties on raw cashew nuts. The revenue from this is then used to subsidize and support local processors. As part of efforts to develop the sector in Ghana, the Ghana Export-Import Bank is urging government to consider imposing export levies on some specific agricultural products such as cashew. According to the bank, this will serve as a source of revenue for government and protect domestic industries. Judith Akins is the manager in charge of export trade at the Ghana Exim Bank.
So some of the proposals or proposition we are saying that the government should do is that the government should first of all assist exporters with export levy. They should come up with policy reforms in export levies. For example, I made a mention of the fact that our neighboring countries, French countries, have export levies such that they are not able to export cashew from their country. So they come here because of the levies imposed on them. So Ghana should do same. And it's notable to note that Ivory Coast made close to about 134 million USD in 2019. In that regard, these are revenues that Ghana can benefit or earn from. Now, we're saying that our neighboring French countries are doing, they are earning revenues from that. These are extra revenues that we can earn as a country. If our neighboring countries are doing that, we do that as well. They will not shift or push these export products to us. You understand what I'm saying? So we are looking at it from the angle of revenues that can help assist these cashew farmers grow their business. So that's the angle we are looking at. So if they are doing that, why can't we do that?
The government has always had a challenge with properly collecting property taxes, which is also affecting its revenue. Players in the online real estate retail space believe their platform can help bridge that gap while enhancing the government's ability to tax property owners who plan on using their platforms to rent or sell off their properties. Wondering how? This video has the details. The government, through the various metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies, has over the years had a challenge with efficiently collecting property taxes from various property owners across the country. Among the many reasons for this situation is the lack of adequate data on the numbers, locations and values of a lot of properties. Setbacks like these have led the government to work on introducing the electronic transfer levy to help in its revenue mobilization agenda, especially with a large part of the informal sector not actively paying taxes. Online real estate company Mikasa believes that the situation with the government can be improved by leveraging on data from its outfit.
Property taxing is actually one of the great ways to raise money locally, especially for government in these times. If you asked me, I would say that first of all, we need to identify every property. And government doesn't need to stress themselves by hiring a lot of people walking around, because Mikasa has that database. We have over 70,000 properties listed today on the platform. And there's a way we can go about this. So maybe for our platform, for example, buyers, not buyers, I think people who want to rent and people who want to buy come to our website. We generate over 200,000 traffic. So that means that there's a huge demand. And any investor who's bought a property and wants to sell, or who's bought a property and wants to put out for rent, is looking for these buyers.
Beyond the access to data, the CEO of Mikasa, Kelvin Yame, who spoke to Citi Business News on the sidelines of the launch of his company's home and property fair, stated that the government ought to introduce regulations that would mandate asset owners to pay property taxes before they are allowed to enlist their buildings on retail platforms. This, he argues, will give property owners enough incentives to fulfill all their financial obligations to the state.
So that's where government comes in and say, hey, hold on, you have 4-bedroom house, it's legal, you want to sell, but first of all, we need to do some due diligence. Do you have a property number? Yes, I do. Okay, what's the property number? Then maybe you state it. Have you paid? Then you check from the database immediately. Do you know that for the past 6 months, you've not paid your property tax? Okay, so this is one of the prerequisites. You need to have paid your property tax before you can advertise. So that puts a lot of pressure on the investor, because you have this house sitting down, but you can't give it out to a tenant to rent and make revenue, because you're now forced to pay a property tax before you can advertise and make money as an investor. So then quickly you want to get it out of the way. And what this does is that any online platform that wants to advertise property for any landlord must make sure they go through the system. Every property must be checked. It must have a property number. The database must be checked to be sure that the taxes have been paid. If you want to sell, it's the same. So eventually you are building a platform where it's easy. You just sit at home and make it easy for any buyer to pay a tax.
In a bid to clamp down on mobile money fraud, which has in recent times led to massive losses for businesses and individuals, the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications and the Bank of Ghana have stepped up efforts to bring the menace under control. The Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber, Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe, has been providing more details on how this partnership is working to help reduce the menace.
With mobile money fraud being on the rise in recent years, the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications says it decided to prioritize the education of the public on the subject matter this year as part of its celebration of World Consumer Rights Day under the theme Fair Digital Finance. Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe is the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications.
If we want to discuss fair financial services, then it's important and imperative that we bring it to the ground, to the people who most of the time have been disadvantaged. In Ghana, you find out that mobile money services, in terms of the cyber security, is very secure. But the challenge has always been the issue of social engineering. The challenge has been the issue of our cyber hygiene. The fact that a lot of our people are not aware, and it's not about even literacy. You find some of these schemes and some of these scams come up, and then people who are supposed to be very lettered, also fall victim to this. So we thought that it was important not to keep these celebrations in Accra. I remember the last one we did before COVID. We went to Makola Market to do it. So we thought it was important to move it elsewhere. So the next place to come to was Kumasi. And then in Kumasi, where could we get the masses gathered was in Kejetia. We're partnering with the Bank of Ghana. So we brought the Bank of Ghana here. They also are running clinics as we started a SIM registration in the morning. And so the plan is, how do we ensure that we make sure that citizens, subscribers, customers are aware of the challenges that are inherent with digital financial services. You do not have to give your PIN to anybody. You do not have to disclose your financial service to people that you don't know who call you and say they are from other places. We all know the numbers that our networks will call us with. If you get a call from another net, they're pretending to discuss anything with you, don't.
He has also been highlighting efforts being made to address mobile money fraud so far.
So the fraud control dashboard, what it does is that if you perpetuate fraud on any network and you are reported, you see sometimes on Facebook, you see somebody wanting to create an employment scam. You know that the security forces will not recruit with that. So what then you do is that once you see it, you report, you call 419 on your network and report it. They would investigate it. When they find out that it's correct, what they then do is that they will block that SIM. When they block the SIM, they will go and look at the ID that was used. If that ID has been used severally to commit fraud that has been reported, that ID will be blacklisted. They will not be able to use it again on the network. And then they will also block the device. Every device has the IMEI number unique to it. And so what they will do is they block it. When they block it, they then will report it onto the dashboard. When they report it on the dashboard, the rest of the other networks, including Glo, will then also block that the device on their network and then also block that particular ID. And so we have reported about 35,000 incidents so far. About 28,000 devices have been blocked, and about 1,000 IDs have also been taken as well.
The branch network services senior manager for MTN's northern sector, Adjo Afrakuma Ba Oben, tells Citi News the various telecommunications companies have put innovative ideas in place to improve their systems to address mobile money fraud.
Put in a lot of innovative ideas and then improved our systems efficiently such that it is hard for fraudsters to beat us to it. Like I said, if they are in class 1, we are way ahead in class 6. Importantly is the partnership we have with the Ghana Telecoms Chamber to ensure that all fraudsters are blocked.
To something else, and workers of the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, say the continuous stay in office by their managing director, Kwame Ogbodu, will further plunge the company into deeper debt. The workers, led by the leadership of the Public Utilities Workers Union of Trades Union Congress, held a press conference to kick against contract extension for the MD, who they allege has attained the mandatory retirement age.
Mr. Kwame Ogbodu should not be given any contract extension.
Addressing a press conference, the General Secretary of the Public Utility Workers Union, Michael Ogbodu, said they want Kwame Ogbodu to stop holding himself up as the Managing Director of the Electricity Company of Ghana. According to the workers, the current Managing Director has attained his mandatory retirement age, and any attempt by the appointing authority to extend his stay in office will give rise to labour unrest. The workers said anything short of the MD's exit will not be in the interest of the company and the nation at large. The General Secretary of POO noted that ECG is struggling to run effectively.
The deficiency in the managerial competence of Mr. Kwame Ogbodu had manifested in the following results. acute shortage of meters. Some customers have paid for new service for over 6 months and still waiting. Lack of electrical cables for key maintenance and service connections. Shortage of electrical poles for new service and repair works. Absence of basic office materials such as common stationery is affecting the smooth running of the company. Demonstration of one-man show type of leadership, coupled with disrespect and virtual abuse of some directors and general managers. Favoritism in certain appointments, which is destroying the spirit of competence and merit within the company. Delays in payment of deductions from staff salaries for mutual fund, credit union, and other welfare contributions.
The General Secretary of the Public Utility Workers Union, Michael Ogbodu, said a petition has been served on the board of directors of the company, and it is in their firm belief that they will act swiftly to avert any intended agitation.
Pitifully, however, nothing significant has come out from the board after receiving the said resolution. This apparent silence from the board is reinforcing the strong perception within the company that some of the board members are taking undue advantage of the managerial weak capacity of Mr. Kwame Agyeman-Budu to further their personal interests at the expense of the company. Some staff are of the opinion that the board chairman is virtually operating like an executive chairman. The staff of the company, some of whom have worked for over 20 and 30 years, are surprised by the fast pace the company is slipping into bankruptcy and total destruction, especially under the tenure of Mr. Kwame Agyeman-Budu.
The workers were clad in red, singing and chanting, "The MD must go."
It will be very unfortunate to live a very exuberant life only to grow old and have nothing at all to fall on. This is why the Social Security and National Insurance Trust SNIT says a comprehensive initiative is being rolled out to inculcate into young people the benefits of being a SNIT contributor. This, according to SNIT, will expand the membership of the National Basic Social Security Scheme and also help the youth who will form the country's workforce to enjoy a decent pension upon retirement.
Officials of SNIT have attributed the relatively low membership of the scheme to the lack of understanding of the social security system by many Ghanaians. Officials are also concerned some employees connive with their employers to underdeclare their social security contribution.
So out of that 11% that comes to SNIT every month, SNIT, you, the employee, stands the chance to earn up to 60% of the highest incomes that you came to declare and insure with us for life. For life. This is not a 1 day or wonder or 1 month or 2 years or 3 years. For as long as you live, SNIT is there to pay you. Now, what happens is that sometimes because of miseducation, some people would connive with their employers and say that, okay, don't pay me my SNIT because as for SNIT, nothing good comes out of it. And then the employer saves the 13%, and then the 5.5% is not deducted. And you think that you are getting something today, some additional income to spend today, not knowing that you are jeopardizing your future. For that day, when that day comes, when you're unable to work, you are going to miss SNIT being there to pay for you for as long as you live.
SNIT believes Educating the youth, especially students, on social security issues will help them grow with a positive mindset towards attaining a decent pension.
Where we've launched these supplementary readers in collaboration with the Ghana Education Service, to really explain to the good people of Ghana, the young people of Ghana who are going to be the future workers in this country, so that they see the value that social security plays in their lives, and the value that the SNIT scheme in particular plays, and make sure that they actually take advantage of it when they go into the workforce.
Social security content has now been included in various subject areas of the curriculum of high schools, with supplementary readers being provided to enable students understand social security issues.
And that is why the Ministry of Education has partnered SNIT in coming up with the supplementary readers. We want our learners, about 10 million of them in that category, from kindergarten, primary, JHS up to SHS, to be imbibed with the social values and financial literacy, even to understand the essence of insurance and SNIT in particular, that in your active service, the contribution that you make to SNIT will be your savior when you're in old age and unable to work, or even in an unlikely event of incapacitation.
Copies of the supplementary readers have been distributed to offices of the Ghana Education Service in all the 16 regions of Ghana.
Well, that will be all for this week's edition of the Business Weekly Show here on Citi TV, your most watched business show in the country. For regular business news updates, our website, citibusinessnews.com, is there for you, and the business dashboard, which airs on Citi TV at 10 p.m. sharp every weekday, with a repeat the following day at 7 and 10:30 a.m. My name is Michael Ogbodu. Please follow me on Twitter at @mogbodu. Catch you same time next week. Stay safe, stay informed, and bye-bye.